Welcome back, Metas. Today we're diving into the Jaws Unstable Bomber build in Once Human. Whether you're gearing up for a challenging scenario or looking to try a new build to see some massive numbers, this guide has got you covered. The Unstable Bomber build is unique because it delivers two types of damage: an initial explosion that deals damage in an area and an elemental blast damage. The initial damage is affected by elemental damage buffs even though it is status damage. Typically, this build cannot crit or hit weak spots unless you're using specific weapons that modify this mechanic. The way you trigger the Unstable Bomber effect depends entirely on the weapon you're using. There are 4 different Unstable Bomber weapons in the game, but today we're focusing on DE50 Jaws, which we will just call Jaws from now on. Jaws stands out among the other Unstable Bomber options due to its unique ability to allow crits with Unstable Bomber effect. As I mentioned in the previous video, crit is the strongest stat in the game right now. Although it may seem like a small detail, enabling crits on Unstable Bomber opens the doors to various modifiers that can significantly boost your damage by enhancing your crit damage. This makes Jaws a great choice for scaling into a late game. Additionally, Jaws allows you to trigger Unstable Bomber every 2 shots if you land a crit. It also boosts elemental damage by 30% when you hit a weak spot, amplifying your damage even further. For calibrations, aim for Rapid Shot or Assault style, with double crit rate. Jaws is currently only obtainable through the Wish machine, so you may need to gamble some store chrome. For your secondary weapon, the recurve crossbow is the best choice due to its ability to provide a 15% crit rate boost. This adds consistency and increases the damage output of your Unstable Bomber, which we will explore further in the mod section. If the target lacks a weak spot, consider using Bingo or Wildfire. Armor in Once Human comes in 2 varieties: key armors, which change the way you play, and set armors, which provide bonus stats when worn together. For Unstable Bomber build, we have 3 key armors: Sleek Leather Jacket, which increases your Unstable Bomber damage the farther you're away from the target; Explosive Front Top delays the Unstable Bomber explosion and increases its damage by 30%. And lastly, Shaman Vulture Top, which provides a 35% crit rate after triggering Unstable Bomber. After testing, the Shaman Vulture Top is the best option by far. This is because crit rate is crucial for our build, and the Shaman Vulture Top scales incredibly well with it. The Explosive Front Top is better suited for a different weapon, which we will not cover today, and the Sleek Leather Jacket doesn't come close in any terms of damage output. If you don't have legendary armor, a 3-piece Falcon set for extra crit rate and damage, combined with 2-piece Scout set for weapon damage, is a good alternative. For best results, go with 4-piece Lone Wolf set, which grants you 60% crit damage at max stacks, and add Bastille Shoes for an extra 10% weapon damage. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for an extra 100% damage boost. Now let's talk about mods, core of any build. For this setup, we're primarily focused on one stat: crit damage. The most important attribute is Violent, which guarantees crit damage attribute on our mods. For other attributes, you can aim for weapon damage or damage to great ones. For your Jaws weapon mods, consider Heavy Explosives provides infinite stagger when you hit a target. This is especially good in PvP, which will allow you to stagger your target constantly. However, in PvE, I definitely recommend Reckless Bomber, which increases Unstable Bomber damage by nearly 50% since your crit rate will be close to 100% with this build. For the recurve crossbow, use Vulnerability Amplifier mod, which increases the vulnerability from 8% to 16%, adding more damage. For your helmet mod, choose between Momentum Up or Deviation Expert. Both perform really well, but your choice will depend on the attributes that roll on it. Personally, I run Momentum Up, but a well-rounded Deviation Expert would outperform it. For the mask mod, go with Targeted Strike since you'll always be shooting at bullseye targets. Point detonation doesn't seem to perform as well as targeted strike in this scenario. For your jacket mod, you have flexibility. You could run a defensive mod with good attributes, the blue crit enchantment mod for extra crit damage, or the blue flame resonance mod for increased unstable bomber damage. For pants, simply use Deadshot for extra crit damage as it's the best one so far. Your gloves should be crit amplifier, but if you don't have that, crit boost is a solid alternative. Lastly, for boots, choose between slow and steady or covered advance. For this build, I prefer covered advance, and I'll explain why in the tips section. When it comes to your Cradle, there are some must-have choices, but you might want to swap some out based on your scenario. My top picks are Handgun Enhancement, Status Enhancement, First Round Blast, and Steady Hand. Remember, my Cradle might look different than yours, and this is because of the scenario that I'm playing in. The scenario that I'm currently playing in has extra Cradle upgrades for Unstable Bomber. To maximize your damage, start with a heavy attack using your axe to gain fortification buff. Quickly cancel the animation by swapping mid-air to your crossbow, hit a weak spot for bullseye, and then switch to your pistol to unleash devastating damage. Don't forget to summon your deviant before you start shooting. The best option is Lone Wolf's Whisper from Hound Boss. After using the Unstable Bomber build extensively, here is why it is so effective. It's very easy to play. Most of the time, you don't even need to hit a weak spot with your crossbow, just few hits with Jaws and your target is dead. This applies to even enemies without weak spots, as Unstable Bomber still triggers. In hard mode, in my scenario, this build shines even further. After 2 weeks of testing, I can confidently say that with just one Cradle upgrade, you can handle any anomaly, making this build extremely useful. I'd rank Jaws as the best Unstable Bomber build, an S tier choice. However, I still think Power Surge and Shrapnel builds outperform it in PvE. And I will make a Power Surge build if they hit 500 likes on this video. If you've made it this far, here are some pro tips to take your Unstable Bomber to the next level. Keep your crit rate to crit damage ratio at 1 to 2 for optimal damage. Each crit rate point lost costs you around 2.5% in damage if you're not maxed out. The best foods for this build are Shattered Bread and Whimsical Drink. The reason we run Covered Advance is due to lack of passive health regeneration from other food buffs like Goat Meat or Stardust Dish. Apply the Bullseye buff every 2 clips to maintain maximum damage output. For weapon attachments, I use Small Compensator, Compact Reflex Sight, Integrated Tactical Laser, and Extended Pistol Mag. However, you can adjust this to your own liking as it doesn't make a difference in your damage. For late game ammo, go with Tungsten Pistol AP bullets. I avoid blasting pistol AP ammo due to the minimal damage difference and really high crafting cost. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope this guide answered all your questions. If you have more, drop them down in the comments and I'll make sure to get back to you. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more 1C1 content. Until next time, take care.